So let's start off the top with something I mentioned off the rip. Texas A&M wants to be third as they are number one. They put together the greatest college football recruiting class of all time 1 year after Alabama put together the greatest college football recruiting class of all time. The number is 328.59, and they went over the top earlier this morning when Shamar Stewart decided to pick A&M over Miami. Okay? What this means is Texas A&M has 2 of the top 10 recruits in the country, including defensive tackle Walter Nolen, who's not only the highest rated recruit in that class, he is a higher rated recruit than Myles Garrett and the highest rated recruit in the history of Texas A&M football, or I should say in the history of the recruiting era, which goes back to 1998, which coincidentally is the last time Texas A&M won a conference championship. That's wild, right? Even more wild. Texas A&M has not won a national championship since 1939. We fought a world war since then, okay? Now, what's interesting about A&M finishing at number one is obviously the Palace intrigue about how did they put together this class, and we will discuss it. But for me, top line thought here is every team that has finished number one in the recruiting rankings era, in the college football playoff era, has won a national championship. Now, seeing as since 2010, only 2 teams have finished number one in the recruiting rankings era, in the college football playoff era, and they are Alabama and Georgia, you get what I'm saying here, right? A&M ought to feel good because they have not done this, right? And it's not just they haven't done this. Neither is Ohio State, neither is LSU, neither has Texas, neither has Clemson, neither has Oregon, neither has Florida State. Like, we keep doing this. You know what I'm saying? I'm mentioning programs that have been in the college football playoff or won a national championship, right? And or I think that this is also a great jumping off point if you're an Aggies fan to say, hey, look, we showed what we were about in 2021 when we beat the national runner-up with a backup quarterback who ain't even on the team anymore. And then we went into the portal, and we came out with a former starting quarterback at LSU in Max Johnson, and we added his baby brother, Jake, who's one of the top tight ends in the country. It's a nasty class. Like, they're loaded. But more than that, right, they have a class that's great. They had a class that was good last year, the year before, and the year before that, which is another way of saying they have a roster that is capable of winning a national championship. That's what you want. So if it was A&M going to number one after being ranked 35, 37, 38, we might not say the same thing. But this is also interesting in that I can look at Texas A&M and I can look at their schedule and I can make an argument for them beating everybody on the schedule. I couldn't do that last year, right? So we're all going to be looking to Texas A&M, but we're also going to be looking at how they put together this 2022 recruiting class, because as it was coming together around the early signing period and it was becoming clear that not only would Texas A&M finish as the number one team in the 22 cycle, they would have a shot to be the best recruiting class of all time. And in the age of name, image, and likeness, and in the age of the Aggie Network and the grossly large Aggie alumni and how badly those folks down in College Station want to win a national championship, people were asking, were players incentivized with a pitch that didn't end with you get to play football at Texas A&M and you get a Texas A&M education? Could it have had something to do with dollar bills, y'all? As your man Johnny Manziel would go, with the monies, right here, would it have something to do with that? Okay. Well, Jimbo Fisher heard us talking about how he has put together this 2022 class, and my man showed up to the podium with receipts. Listen to what he had to say.
Money is being spent, and just your thoughts.
Here's what I'm going to say, and this is point blank. This is point blank because here's my problem. There is no $30 million fund. There is no $5 million. There is no $10 million. This is garbage, okay? and it does, it pisses me off that people, and here it comes from a site called Bro Bible by a guy named Sliced Bread. Then everybody runs with it. So it's written on the internet as gospel. How irresponsible is that? And then to have coaches in our league and across this league say it, clown acts. All right? Irresponsible as hell. Multiple coaches in our league. And the guy's griping about NIL, griping about transfer portal, using it the most and bragging about it the most. That's the ironic part. You want character? I'll take it with any of y'all. It's a joke. It does piss me off. The other thing, when you look at vice president, I get another one. Vice president of Notre Dame. Supposed to be a reputable university, right? That's a heck of a person leading a reputable university. I'd be real proud if I hired that guy. Read it off Sliced Bread. It's funny, when Nick Saban said his quarterback got an $800,000 deal, it was wonderful. Now it ain't wonderful no more, huh? But ours, we ain't got that. Ours are on record what comes up. We ain't doing all them big deals. There ain't none on our place we know of. That's funny when you do it. The hypocrisy is a joke. It's an absolute joke, and it's insulting to our staff, how hard we work, to how we do things, and it's insulting to Texas A&M because there ain't a better place to go to school and play ball. If you don't like it, we're coming on. Get used to it. All right? We ain't going nowhere. It's an absolute joke. The people put the hard work in and do it. It's irresponsible, but it's funny when they get it, it's all okay. Ball games are changing, man. And it ain't because of NIL and what goes on. It's pretty irresponsible of all of them. They're clowns.
My man dropped Bro Bible, Sliced Bread, went at administrators, went at coaches, went at message board posters, basically took the microphone and did a rendition of Tupac's Hit 'Em Up. Like I can hear in the background, take money as a man, put on the shades, put on the glasses to look down at the index card going, no, I have more here. I have a list. Everybody here is going to get some of this. I was dying because I also understand the background as you, the savvy college football fan, also understands the background. But for those of y'all that do not understand when Jimbo Fisher was referring to coaches in this league and across this league, okay, Lane Kiffin on Tuesday spoke to media. And one of the things the self-proclaimed portal king had to say was, quote, we don't have the funding resources as some schools with the NIL deals. It's like dealing with salary caps. He went on, I joked I didn't know if Texas A&M incurred a luxury tax with how much they paid for their signing class. Okay? He went on. Somehow, they're going to have to control NIL. You've got these salary caps, schools giving players millions to sign before they play, and other places not able to do that. What would the NFL look like if 2 or 3 teams could pay 10 times more than the salary cap? And quote, to which I have an answer for you, Mr. Kiffin. The answer is Major League Baseball for the last 50 years. Okay? Salary caps are meant to create competition 1 through 32. And a matter of fact, since we're here talking about what the NFL might look like or not look like, I remind you, the NFL is a socialist institution in that the worst team gets the first pick, the best team gets the last pick. There is a salary cap. You do have to draft a rookie who is a great quarterback, get him on a rookie deal so you can put around him other dudes that cost a lot of money so you have an opportunity to go win a Super Bowl. That's how that works. Now, college football is a free market enterprise where we have coaches that make $10 million and we have kids that do not make a dime. Okay? So before you start pointing fingers about who's paying who about what, I would say you don't want this to change up. You don't want this to change up because people might come into your pockets and start redistributing the wealth to the players that are playing football. But I digress because I wanted to sit here and talk about Jimbo Fisher, who for once is looking around with a point. Like I don't often show up here on this show and tell y'all that Texas A&M fans have a right to be aggrieved. Doesn't even sound right coming from me, does it? You know? But that's what it is because I'm here for fairness. I'm here for what's right. I'm here for what's true. And as a matter of fact, man, last year, I and others were lauding Nick Saban for putting together that 2021 class that was the greatest of all time. And not once did any one of us talk about name, image, and likeness deals or dirty dealing by the near 70-year-old head coach. We just said he's the GOAT. Jimbo Fisher wants the same flowers, and I don't blame him. He signed 27 kids, one of which is a transfer, and he brought home the goods. All right? I'm with him on this. Give the man his flowers. Give Texas A&M their flowers. And to this point, about a $30 million fund, $5 million fund, whatever it is, boosters are going to do what boosters are going to do. Donors are going to do what donors are going to do. The point of the matter for me is, don't whine. Just go win. The rules are the rules. You know, when we talked about the portal ruining college football, Nick Saban went in there and brought out Jameson Williams and Henry To'oTo'o. Get out of my face with this. Go win some games. Stop throwing shade because it ain't going so well. But in the case of Texas Ole Miss, it is going so well. And for me, I think that Kiffin's just out there stirring the pot. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But landscape here. So you take this fact with you to work tomorrow, to gloat about who's doing what, or to be right in your facts. Because one of the things I hate in all these arguments is people show up with facts that are inaccurate or wrong. Facts you can take with you. Texas A&M sits atop the composite with a score of 328.59. Okay? Alabama's number 2. So they're right there. 322.29. And Georgia is number 3 at 316.91. Followed by Ohio State and Texas. Okay? So it's not as if A&M is out there by a large stretch. They still got some work to do, but all roads run through the SEC, which has been true since about 2007, really. You know, I mean, outside of SC, ain't nobody else really sniffing the SEC. It's just not happening, okay? But it did occur to me that you could put together a national championship team without out-recruiting doggone near everybody. Thanks for watching this video, and remember, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any other videos on the #1 ranked show YouTube channel.